Hey guys, Thomas the Silly Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review Ready Player One. And the reason for this more down low key tone is because, with a heavy heart and unfortunate circumstances, this will probably be my either last or very close to last movie review. And yeah, that is what is going to be happening, and my channel will be more focused on Let's Plays from this point moving forward. This is something I didn't want to do, but after going to see Ready Player One, I just saw all the movies that I would have to be watching in order to catch up now, and the amount of trips that I would have to take to the location, which is a hassle for me personally. And I just put two and two together and just said, I can't keep up with this anymore. And in that regard, I have to say that I did fail one of my original YouTube goals in this choice. I started One of the reasons I started this YouTube channel was to, yes, prove a few people wrong. Some people said in their advice thing when I was asking them what to do, everyone I asked said, don't create a hybrid channel. Don't, focus on one thing. If you're going to be a Let's Play channel, just do a Let's Play channel. Don't do movies and video games. It's not going to work. And now I unfortunately proved them right. I didn't want to prove them right. I wanted to prove everyone that ever told me that was wrong and that a YouTuber of hybrid status could make it here on this platform, and I failed. I failed YouTube, and I failed everyone watching. So there's that. So I am going to be reviewing this movie. And since this is my last movie review, I'm just going to freeball it. I did write a bunch of notes, but I'm not even going to bother looking at them anymore. I'm just going to freeball this review for Ready Player One. So the movie starts off with this pretty standard kid named, his name in the Avatar Oasis world is Z, so I'm just going to refer to him as that in the entire movie, even though he has a real name. As far as all the other characters are concerned, that will also be the case. So he enters this world, Oasis, which is created by this man. He's on the right side of the poster, next to Simon Pegg's character. I think his name is like Hamada or something like that, but anyway. So he enters the world of Oasis, and he talks about how in this world the creator created this Easter egg, and that whoever would find these Easter eggs, including these three keys, would unlock the ultimate Easter egg, and this Easter egg would unlock the domain to the entire Oasis, the ownership of it, and so on and so forth. So the competition is on, and the other people who are competing is this business company that I'll just call the 101 group. I forgot what their actual name was. I have it in my notes, but again, I'm not looking at my notes right now. You can see the guy in the top left there. He's in charge. He's the bad guy, the business bad guy. So we have that going on, and within the first key hunt, it's a race. So we begin this pretty early on with a race. Everyone fails it, and this is where our character also meets his future love interest, Artemis. I think her name was Sam, but I'm just going to call her Artemis for simplicity's sake. So he immediately is like, whoa, this girl's hot or whatever, and it continues throughout the movie, and then they eventually just get together. So pretty simplistic love story at best, and one that's probably not even that believable. So he goes to this area where, like, there's like an historian site or something, and he meets this butler-like character where this guy has all the information about the creator and all of his files, and he looks up what to do, and he gets a big hint on going backwards on the track, which is something apparently no one can figure out for 5 years. Which again, I heard. I believe it was Doug Walker who mentioned that was a pretty long time for no one to figure it out. So he does figure it out, goes through the track backwards, ends up going through this little like underground thing, and he's like under the code or whatever. He gets past King Kong, which is in the movie. I believe the first reference, because they're all out of references, and I'll just spoil all of them because I honestly don't care. I think the movie's been out for long enough. I believe the first spoiler was Batman, I want to say. So yeah, there's that. So he does the race backwards, and he has his few friends. He has H, simply known as H, which is this like robotic character. You can see her, the real life version of her, on the just below the main character, right there on the left side there. So she gets it next, and then the other two beneath her get it after him, and her as well. So they get it after those two, and Artemis as well. So this group of five start to slowly but surely start to work together, even though the main character's like, oh, I'm all alone and whatever still at this point. So the next key is focused in on the movie The Shining. He gets another hint, or Artemis actually does. And we focus more on this recreation of The Shining, which then gets a little bit creative with its visuals and different aspects of like what the creator saw when he was watching the movie, and his aspects on it or whatever. And there are all these other tricks and stuff in store for them. But Artemis actually ends up figuring it out first, so she's the first to grab that key, and then I assume the others eventually get it separately. It never really shows them getting the second key altogether, but I guess they just do off screen or something like that. Meanwhile, the 101 group is slowly but surely catching up at this point. They proceed. I forget if it was after their first key or the second key, but the 101 group, the boss, decides that he's gonna try to convince the main character to try to join them, and then he doesn't want to, and so he proceeds to like blow up his home or where he was living at that point in time with his I think it was his aunt and his aunt's boyfriend or something like that. So now, and he doesn't even get all emotional about it, not even the aunt. He's just like, oh, it's gotta keep going, because there's no time to waste over an emotional scene in a movie like this, apparently. So, yeah, he neglects to save those people, and then the business people are catching up, and they gain access to the third puzzle before, the main character, Z, there. And they have this minion played by TJ Miller. And I've seen the two camps of people. People who love this character, ranging from, I believe Doug Walker said that, and I also believe Angry Joe, when I saw his review, he also said that. And then there's like the camp of people who absolutely hate him, which include the Black Critic guy. I saw his review as well. After this review is kind of gonna have that bias of watching other reviews to try to get a sense of what this was. And I'm gonna join the camp of saying this character was terrible, actually. I agree with the Black Critic guy. I think T.J. Miller was a terrible choice of a character, of an actor in this. I think he's not terrifying because the avatar is terrifying, and he's not funny because he's not funny. And I can think of another character from another movie who's just way better in every sense of what the vibe of this character should have been. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but my god, if Tempest from My Little Pony can do a better job at being threatening than a big bulking guy at being threatening, then you fucked up. You fucked up. I'm sorry. Tempest from My Little Pony is a more threatening a secondary villain than this villain is, played by, again, TJ Miller. And the second point I'm going to bring up is that I could think of one other actor who would have been absolutely perfect for this role, and I can't believe they didn't wait to get him. Dave Bautista. You know, the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's big. He has the voice that would carry that type of body archetype. He can do the comedy, because we know he can do it. We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. For everyone who's seen it, we know he can be funny, and he can be the nerdy character, too. We know he can do it. That's perfect! That would have been perfect for Dave Bautista. Why didn't they just wait and get Dave Bautista to do that role? That was an absolutely wasted role right there. Could have given it to someone who could have fit that role perfectly, could have hit the intimidation role perfectly, could have hit the comedy way better than TJ Miller, could have hit the nerdy better than TJ Miller. Again, miscast 100%. I think I know how to pick a role better than TJ Miller. So there you go. There's your perfect role for this character. Dave Bautista, you fucked up on that one. Anyways, moving on from that big screw up of a character, we move on to the big battle that is the third key. So at some point, Artemis gets captured by the one-on-one group, and she gains access into one of the virtual systems, and she's inside, and she helps break down this seal that TJ Miller's character puts up earlier in the movie. I forget if it was during the second key or the first, but whatever. I'm pretty sure it was after the second. After that, they then proceed to Z calls out to all the other players saying oh, this business group is gonna screw us all over. They're gonna do all the bad stuff we don't want, and they've they made it personal as well. They've taken out my family members. They probably did some other shady stuff to other people off screen, I guess. And from there, they are joined by an army of players, and we get to see some more cameos from other things like Overwatch, an Overwatch character, Chun-Li. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a whole bunch. Iron Giant is there. We see him earlier in the movie, but he's not in access, but now he's finally built. So we get the Iron Giant. We get Chucky in this final battle as well. We get one of the players, one of the ones on this side. I believe it was the one right on top of that young kid there, who transforms or gets a Gundam. And our villain, spoiler alert, I guess, even though everyone's already spoiled it at this point, most likely, the one-on-one boss gets Mechagodzilla. So we get Iron Giant versus Mechagodzilla, and joining the Iron Giant for aid is the Gundam. And I believe it was the main Gundam. I'm not too familiar with which Gundam that was, so I'm gonna assume that's the main one. Or one of the main ones, because I know there's variations on the Gundam, so there's that. So yes, it's Iron Giant versus Mechagodzilla, and Iron Giant's being aided by the Gundam, and that's probably the best part of the movie, honestly. It's quite a spectacle. Everything else leading up to it is either hit or miss, honestly. Uh, Anyways, the main character gains access into the main room, or the main key is hidden, I should say. In this player, he's with someone else. I believe he's with the player right beneath H there. Uh, so he's watching this other guy play this game where the code is, or where the final key is hidden. Sorry, and the guy beats the game, but that wasn't the point of the final key, so he fails. So from that point, Z takes control. Meanwhile, the one-on-one boss finally gets out of his little business, gets a gun, and gives chase to the main group. And while we cut back to the main group, we see the van moving, we see them being chased, and we see all the other people outside just fighting nothing with their VR sets on. It looks kind of stupid, but whatever. So there's that going on. So it's a bit of a bumpy ride, and Z slips and fumbles from time to time afterwards, after getting the key and gaining access to the final room, where he gets to meet this, I guess I'll just say it's an AI of the creator. I don't know if there's any other way to put that, because he says he's dead, and it's very obviously stated that he's dead, but he also says that he's not like a part of the game or whatever. So again, I can only assume, because he never specifies what he is. He just says that he's not either of these things. So I assume, again, can only assume that he's an AI of some sort. So when he's with this AI, the AI creator, he's given one final surprise test where he's told to sign a contract. That contract was for the one he did with the one-on-one boss, because they were affiliated at one point or another. So he rejects that, and then once he has done that, he is given access to this Easter egg, which is literally a golden egg. And in the real life, the one-on-one boss catches up, he opens the door, he sees that Z now has the golden egg. He has the gun in hand pointed at Z, but suddenly decides to stop, interestingly. And I'll admit, it's kind of weird, because he doesn't say anything, and kind of, honestly, his acting in that point, because I don't think the rest of his acting, except for when he's in the physical parts, are all that great, but in that moment, when he has zero dialogue, and he just aims down his gun, that's probably the best acting he does in the entire movie, because it's all done with his facial expression. There's no dialogue, it's just him thinking about what's happening, and we have to just, we have to interpret what he's thinking, and it's actually a pretty great scene in that respect. But the police do come, they arrest him, the one-on-one boss, of course, and Z is taken out of the suit, and he gets the girl, literally gets the kiss from the girl, that being Artemis there, and from that point, he talks to Simon's character more, because he's suddenly there. And then Z finally says, "Oh, I'm gonna run this group, run this place with my entire crew." They're called the 5-something crew or something like that. And he says what the new rules are of how we're taking Tuesdays and Thursdays off to, so people can live in the real world on those days, and then continue their VR fun, doing whatever, and also rejecting anyone from the one-on-one group from gaining access or being able to do what they did before, I guess was the other rule. And that is the end of Ready Player One. It has its plot holes. There's like a moment where like the remaining characters somehow find Artemis. The characters are pretty. Um, I think H is actually the most interesting character because she's the one who's going on about like, oh, Artemis is like not what you expect, and you see this robot character when she's in the online, and she's doing the voice, it's more of a male character in the game. So Z, since we're following him, we assume what he's assuming, and that's actually a guy this whole time. So when we see that it's actually a female player, even though we see Artemis, it's still like, oh, that was actually that this entire time. Okay. So I would say H is definitely the most interesting character as far as that's concerned, because it actually has this, that swerve aspect to it. There's also the creator. He had his moments here and there. He's kind of a oddball. Probably relates most to Z. Z is that sort of typical cliche, like, I'm gonna be alone kind of guy, and then gets the girl super quick. And the girl, Artemis, is all like, oh, I'm so ashamed of how I look, even though I'm hot and only have this slight birthmark. But besides that, I'm super hot. Thing going on. Then we have token Asian characters. I'm sorry, it's the only thing I can say about the other two of them that are with them. That's all I got with them, honestly, because they're not in the movie as much. And the one-on-one boss, as I mentioned, most of his acting up until the physical points, which is probably only one battle sequence with him, actually. So there's one, and then there's the end with him having an actual legitimately good moment. Other than that, he was pretty generic by the numbers, casual businessman who goes kind of over the edge after discovering the keys, and so like the player actually has a key, so we have to step up what we're doing clearly. Simon's character is actually also kind of interesting because he also plays the butler, I guess. So there's that going on as well. So there's that little twist of like, oh, it's not the same person you expect in the real world kind of thing going on with him as well. So, you have your mix of good characters and not as well defined characters. Quite a few plot holes, as I mentioned, here and there, of like how they found each other in the real world is sort of just rushed. How in the second part, the rest of the players just managed to get the keys afterward. The third act, that part was definitely epic, or I should say, really good at the very most. But yeah, I think that covers about everything. And again, I do apologize. Again, I don't know if this is going to be my last movie review or not. But as far as scores concerned, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10 because of the plot holes and some of the characters just missing some elements from them. But still I think the third act definitely saves it from being a halfway decent movie. The cameos or whatever for me. I saw the ones that in the trailers. I saw the Iron Giant already, so I kind of already knew. But him fighting Mechagodzilla, definitely really cool. And there's not really much else. So, while this may or may not be my final movie review, if you did like this review still, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely do the last one. It will definitely help me out, especially now. reaching that 1,000 subscriber thing from here is definitely going to be the toughest journey I've done so far. I failed at everything in my life so far, so it'd be kind of neat to finally feel like I've succeeded in something for once in my life. That I think that'd feel pretty good at this point for me. Um, and definitely check out that link in the description. I'll head you over to my Patreon page, and if I had more Patreons, I would definitely be able to see more movies a bit more often, I think. But as far as right now, I'm just gonna have to take a break from movie reviews, or it would only have to be movies that I'm only looking forward to. I wouldn't be able to see every single movie, so it's definitely gonna be way more limited than it was before. So sorry for the long review, but I had to put that out there. The other part of stopping, or slowing down at the very most. Let's Plays will continue as normally, so there's that at least. But again, I'm going to repeat it this time. Please feel free to like, comment, and definitely subscribe. And definitely check out that link in the description to my Patreon page. Any donations or getting my first Patreon at this point would definitely be worth it. And it would definitely help me out. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!